It's Tuesday, June the 30th. Trust your covenant with God. The word for you today, trust your covenant with God. 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 26. David asked the men standing near them, "What will be done for the man who kills this Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" The Philistines and the Israelites are lined up ready for battle. Philistines on one side, Israel on the other, and they're ready to go to war. Goliath, the giant, comes out from the Philistine side, and he challenges the Israelites to send one man out to face him. And if that man defeats Goliath, then the Philistines will become slaves of Israel, although we're going to find out they really wouldn't have anyway. But if Goliath defeats the Israelite, then the Israelites would become slaves of the Philistines. And so for 40 days, Goliath goes out and he issues that taunt, that challenge, 2 times each day. And David's come to the battlefront from home. His dad sent him there with food for his brothers. So David bringing this food for his brothers, and he sees what's going on here. But he hears the challenge from Goliath in a different way than any of the other Israelite men did. They hear this man. David hears this uncircumcised Philistine. What's the difference? Well, they see a man, but David hears somebody that's not godly, somebody that is against God. They hear surely he has come to defy Israel. David hears he's defying the armies of the living God. David hears Goliath defying God, not just Israel, but God. They just hear against Israel. They hear the man who kills him. David hears the man who kills this Philistine and takes away the reproach from Israel. David hears from a more of a godly, more spiritual place than the other Israelites. They are trusting and they're looking at things from a human viewpoint. David's looking at things from a godly viewpoint. And so David goes out, and what does he do? Well, we know the story, how the little shepherd boy defeats the giant. And where did he get his strength? Where did he get his courage? From God. If you were to ask David at that point in time if he was scared, I don't know. I can't imagine how he wouldn't have been. But courage isn't not being afraid. Courage is acting and doing the right thing even though you are afraid. So let me ask you, when you come upon times that we're scared, and we do, where does your courage come from? Does it come from your own abilities and skills, or does it come from God, knowing this is pleasing to God? This is what God would want me to do. There was a pastor and leadership speaker named John Maxwell, and he tells a story about his brother who was called to active duty for his country. He says he remembers the day he got the notice, and John says his dad went up to his brother Larry and gave him a hug and says, "Larry, I'm going to be praying for you every day. I'm going to be praying for your physical and spiritual well-being, and I'm going to believe in your physical and spiritual well-being." John said many times he saw his father in meetings with people, important meetings, but at 9 o'clock in the morning, he would dismiss himself from those meetings and go and pray for his son who was in battle. And he prayed for his son for 17 years. For 17 years. Then one Sunday morning, John's brother Larry went to church, to a different church, said to the pastor before the worship, "I want you to give an invitation today because I'm going to get saved." That afternoon, Larry called his father and said, "Dad, your 17 years of praying have paid off. Don't ever stop praying because you never know when a person will respond to God, to God's grace and forgiveness." See, John's dad, Larry's dad, wasn't praying just for Larry's safety in war. He was praying for his spiritual well-being. He wasn't trusting in himself. He needed God to speak to his son in a way that he'd not been able to. And for 17 years, he prayed for him every day at 9 o'clock. Let me ask you, is there somebody that you and I need to be praying for? Doesn't have to necessarily be at 9 o'clock. It can be any time. And it doesn't, however you choose to do it. But do we care enough about somebody to pray for them every day? Every day. That they come to know Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. Do we care enough? And if we do, we'll do that. And quite frankly, if we don't care enough, then we won't. You say, no, I really care. Okay, then pray for them every day. Don't just say it, do it. Trust your covenant with God. God said he desires that none should perish, but all should come to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. Trust God to love that person even more than you do. But as you're trusting God, would you be involved in praying for that person every day? Have a good day.